in 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, we are solving an equation that has rational expressions in it. So, main thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out the least common denominator of all the fractions, and then multiply by that expression or that number. Okay. So if we look at x over 3 and x over 2, the least common multiple of 3 and 2 is 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. That's their least common multiple. So I'm going to take this whole thing and multiply by 6. So I have 6 times x over 3 plus 6 times x over 2 equals 6 times 10. Six divided by 3 is 2 times x. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then times x equals 60. And now we're just solving a relatively simple equation. 2x plus 3x is 5x equal to 60. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. X equals 12. Now, the directions say to check your solution. So somewhere you should show me that you are checking to make sure this is right. So if we put 12 in for x's, we'd have 12 over 3 plus 12 over 2. Does that equal 10? 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. That does equal 10. So x equals 12 is my solution. Number 8, the least common denominator. What's the least common multiple of 5 and 7? It's going to be 35. So I would have 35 times y minus 3 over 5 equals 35 times y plus 1 over 7. So 35 divided by 5 gives us 7. So we have 7 times y minus 3. 35 divided by 7 is 5, so I have 5 times y plus 1. Distribute the 7, we get 7y minus 21. Distribute the 5, I get 5y plus 5. I have variables on each side, so I would start by subtracting 5y from each side. So 2y minus 21 equals 5. Y's are on the left, we want the numbers on the right, so add 21 to each side. So 2y equals 26, divide by 2, y equals 13. So go back and check. So 13 minus 3 divided by 5 is 10 over 5, which is 2. So this would be 2. That first part right there would be 2. 13 plus 1 over 7 is 14 over 7, which is also 2. So I have 2 equal to 2, so that is a valid solution, so there's my answer. If you look at number 9, the only denominator we have there is a 2. So you can just multiply that entire thing by 2. So you have 2 times x over 2, and then 2 times 2x minus 3. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom will cancel, so you have x equals, distribute the 2 over here, you have 4x minus 6. Since you only have numbers on the right, I would move all the x's to the left. So subtract 4x from both sides. negative 3x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 3. So x equals 2. If you plug that back in, we have 2 over 2. Does that equal 2 times 2 minus 3? So does 1 equal 4 minus 3? It does. So 2 is our answer. Now, the other option when you are solving an equation with rational expressions in it is if you have one single fraction equal to one single fraction like we do in number 10, we can simply cross multiply. Okay? So there's a negative out front, so either assign that to the x or the 4. It doesn't matter which one, just not both. So I'm going to go with a negative x. So negative x times negative 3 is negative 3x. 2x times 4 is 8x. To solve this one, let's get all the x's on one side. So add 3x to both sides, which leaves us with 0 equal to 11x. Divide by 11. So x equals 0. Plug that in, we'd get 0 over 4 equals 0 over 3, which is true. So x equals 0. Number 11 was definitely the most difficult. It had the hardest common denominator to find. We have an x, we have a 6, we have a 3, and we have an x squared. So if you just look at the numbers, the least common multiple of 3 and 6 is 6. And you take the greater power of x, so we need an x squared. So we're going to multiply everything by 6x squared. So we'd have 1 over x times 6x squared minus 1 over 6 times 6x squared equals 4 over 3x squared times 6x squared. The x here will cancel with one of the x's there, leaving us with just 6x. 6's in the next one can cancel, leaving us with just x squared. And in the last one, the x squareds will cancel, and the 3 can reduce the 6 down to 2, so we have 8. So we'd have negative x squared plus 6x. And we really should move the 8 to the other side, so minus 8 equals 0. Now, when the x squared is negative, let's just multiply everything by negative 1 to get rid of that negative. So I'd have x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. So two numbers that multiply to positive 8, so they have to have the same sign, and add to negative 6, so they're both negative. So our options are negative 1, negative 8, negative 2, negative 4. Those are our factors of 8. And negative 2 and negative 4 are the ones that would add to negative 6. So this would factor into x minus 2 and x minus 4, which means that x would equal 2 and x would equal 4. So in this one, we have two answers to check. So if I put 2 in for x, I would have 1 over 2 minus 1/6. Does that equal 4 over 3 times 2 squared? 1/2 minus 1/6. We could turn this into a 6. We'd have to multiply it by 3, so the top would have to be 3. So this would be 2/6. Does that equal 4 divided by 3 times, so 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, so this would be 4 over 12. Those both reduce to 1/3, so they are equal to each other, so 2 definitely works. Do the same thing with 4, so we'd have 1/4 minus 1/6. Does that equal 4 over 3 times 4 squared? 4 and 6 to have a common denominator would need to be 12. So multiply 6 by 2 and 4 times 3. So we'd get 3 over 12 minus 2 over 12. Does that equal 4 over 4 squared is 16 times 3 is 48. So this would simplify to 1/12. 4 over 48 would also simplify to 1/12, so that also works. So both x equals 2 and x equals 4 are valid solutions.